Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sinta. My student's number is 202122128. And in here, I will presentation about my research proposal with the title The Correlation Between Students' Motivation and Students' Achievement in English Education Department at Siliwangi University. This is the table of content for my research proposal. First, it is related to background of the study, formulation of the problems, operational definition, aims of the study, significance of the study, theoretical framework, research method, population and samples, data collection, data analysis, and preferences related to my research proposal. And last one is enclosure. So let's move to the background of the study. In the world of education, especially in learning, activities, students, continuity, and the success of the students' learning process related to the students' achievement are not only influenced by intellectual factors, but there are non-intellectual factors that are equally important to determine a good student's learning achievement. One of them is the ability of students to motivate themselves. Students' motivation plays an important role in determining student success in the student's learning process, which will be affect students' achievement because students' motivation encourages students' learning enthusiasm. Tokan and Immaculata state that learning motivation, both from the students themselves and from outside, will determine students' learning behavior. In other words, this will affect students in the learning process. Students who have good learning motivation will certainly behave well, and this will encourage students' enthusiasm for learning as well. However, this will be different if students do not have motivation or students experience decreased motivation. This will affect and lead to the weakening of the spirit of students' learning. According to Amrai et al., students' motivation can be influenced by four factors. First, context or environment and external stimulation. Second is temperament, the internal condition of an organism. Third is goals, goals of behavior, purpose, and tendency. And last one is instrument or instrument to achieve goals. The teacher must play an important role as motivational builder and guard, as an educator must know what their students need, like the need for achievement, because every student needs achievement that is different from another. Not a few students who have low achievement motivation tend to be afraid to failure and do not want to take a risk in achieving high learning achievement. And as a teacher, must know how and what to do if student has a diminishing level of motivation. The result of research conducted by Masa Ali state that there is an influence of motivation and academic achievement on student success. In addition, psychology have recognized and researched that factors that are effect in motivation for academic achievement. The research results show that personality, family, university, and social variables are related to this construct. In addition, study conducted in the West have investigated academic motivation, one of which is in Iran. Furthermore, several researchers in the academic field have also studied the role of motivation in academic achievement. Based on the explanation above, I'm interested in conducting research conquering the relationship or the correlation between students' motivation and students' achievement in English Education Department at Siliwangi University. All right, so let's move to formulation of the problems. Is there a correlation between students' motivation and students' achievement in English education students at Siliwangi University? And then let's talk about operational definition. First, students' motivation. Students' motivation is a method that is directly related to the learning activity. Students' motivation is the drive or overall driving force in students that cause learning activity, which are related to the continuity process of learning achievement and provide direction to learning activity so that the objective of learning can be achieved. And in addition, students' achievement is the result or value obtained by students after carry out learning activity. In other words, students' achievement is a series of activity in mastering the knowledge and skills of the subject in science process by students, and it is operationalized in the form of assessment indicator. All right, so this is the aims of the study. This study aims to find out and analyze the correlation between students' motivation and students' achievement that is going to be examined in the fifth semester. I mean, students of English Education Department at Siliwangi University in the academic year 2022 until 2023. All right. This is the significance of the study. This can be used to increase students' motivation and interest in learning a lesson. By knowing this, it is hoped that it can be useful as a strategy to maximize the learning process of students at school. All right. Okay, let's talk about the theoretical framework from my research proposal. First is related to students' motivation. Motivation is defined as a theoretical construct to explain the intonation, direction, intensity, persistency, and quality of behavior, especially goal-directed behavior. And Omigan state that motivation is the reason behind people's behavior and determines why they behave in certain way. In addition, motivation as a general concept that requires, desires, needs, impulses, and interests. So it can be concluded that motivation is about how people are treated and how they feel about the work they do. Tuchker et al. Described that motivation as a determinant of students' mental, emotional, and behavioral instrument in education and commitment. Motivation is also carried out as academic participation, which is the most influential in students' performing among all other factors. It is related to individual cognitive and affective process in situate and interactive interaction between learners and their learning environment according to contextual and social factors as enables or barriers. Ryan et al. Argue that motivated learners are able to engage in challenging a learning activity that involves them actively in finding appropriate strategy to facilitate their learning, enjoy it, and demonstrate better learning, persistence, and creativity. In educational perspective, motivation has a multidimensional structure which is correlate with learning and academic motivation. Some experts have divided motivation into two groups. First is intrinsic motivation. Ryan et al. State that intrinsic motivation is defined as the doing of an activity for its inherent satisfaction rather than for some variable consequence. It is associated with internal factors like interest, fun or challenging an individual develops in doing activity for the joy or satisfaction integrated in the activity. And the second one is extrinsic motivation. According to Ryan, extrinsic motivation as a construct that pertains whenever an activity done in order to attain some variable outcomes. Okay, so let's move to the student's achievement. Achievement is the result of an activity that can be created, or carried out and places obtained by working hard both individually and group. And meanwhile, according to Suryabrata, the definition of learning achievement is a result of the act of making an assessment expressed by number or symbol, where all that is about the progress of students' learning outcomes during the certain period. This learning achievement represents that culmination of learning outcome that can be reflect the result of students' learning success toward the state learning goals. Students' learning outcome can be include aspect of cognitive or knowledge, uh, affective or attitude, and psychomotoric or behavior. Achievement of learning outcomes can be measured using learning achievement tests. All right. So let's talk about research method and population and sample. For research method, this study is using correlation research model as one of the non-experimental research quantitative method. According to Gay et al., correlation research involves collecting data to determine whether and to what degree a relationship exists between two or more quantifiable variables. The purpose of correlation study may be determine relation among variables, example, the relationship study, or to use this relation to make prediction, example, prediction study. Okay, and the population and sample. The population in this research was students of English Education Department at Siliwangi University from the fifth semester of academic year 2022 until 2023, with a total population is 130 students, assuming 4 classes. Furthermore, the technique used in determining the number of samples in this research is to use cluster random sampling technique. In cluster random sampling, uh, an intake group that is not an individual or randomly selected. The class chosen is class D, with a total samples taken from a population of 36 students. Okay, so let's move to talk about data collection and data analysis from my research proposal. In collecting the data, the questionnaire was distributed as a research instrument of the research of students on the samples of the research. The questionnaire on motivation is adopted from the Attitude or Motivation Test Battery or AMTB by Gardner. There are 104 statements about attitude and motivation, but I will took only 20 statements that related to the research question. Statement divided into 2 categories. There are intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation with the Likert scale of agreement or disagreement. That is 1, this is for strongly disagree. 2, it is for disagree. 3, neutral. 4, agree. And last one, 5 is strongly agree. In addition, the data on students' learning achievement was obtained from of a cumulative achievement index or CAI taken from the odd semester of the academic year 2022 until 2023. And for data analysis, data were analyzed using descriptive and inferential statistics, and then person-product moment correlation coefficient analysis will be used to determine the correlation between students' motivation and students' achievement by using SPSS version 23, which will be the media for the calculating person-product moment. Data analysis will be carried out after normality test using the Kolmogorov-Smirnov method on SPSS version 23. All right, and this is the references for my research proposal. And last one, this is the enclosure for my research proposal. This is the questionnaire for motivation. First of all, the students write their identity in here, name, student's number, and class. And here there is a direction. First, write your name and class in the upper left corner. 2, your answer will not affect your score. 3, answer the question honestly. And the last one is put a checklist on your answers. So the participants or the students only should checklist in their answer. And this is the information. 1 is strongly disagree, 2 for disagree, 3 is neutral, 4 is agree, and 5 is strongly agree. This questionnaire from the attitude or motivational test battery. Okay, this is the 20 statement or question related to the motivation. Question number 1, learning English will allows me to get closer with English speakers. 2, I have a strong desire to know all aspects of English. 3, I really enjoy learning English. 4, learn English will allows me to meet and communicate with varied people. 5, I enjoy the activity of our classes. 6, I plan to learn as much English as possible. 7, I learn English because I would like to know more about native English speakers. 8, study English is important because I will be able to interact more easily with speakers of English. 9, I love to learn English. 10, English is one of my favorite course. Next is I learn English because I need it to my future career. And then I study English because I want to please my family. Next, I study English because my parents ask me to. And then I study English because I want to do well in my examination. Next is I learn English because my parents emphasize English is important to me when I left school. Next, I study English because it will be useful in getting a good job. Next, study English is important because other people will respect me more if I know English. Next question, I learn English because I like my English teacher. And then study English is important because it will make me more educated. And the last question, I like to study English because my English teacher has interesting teaching style. So that's all from my presentation about my research proposal. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.